It's the way he says, "I'm fine," when he's clearly not. 2 words, flat as a stone skipped across a pond, sinking without a ripple. He says them while looking just past my left ear, at a point on the wall where the paint is slightly chipped. And in the silence that follows, the one where I used to feel settled, I now feel myself begin to unravel. If you've ever stood in a room that is entirely familiar and yet feels utterly foreign, if you've ever heard a silence that carries a different weight, then you might understand the story I'm about to share. It isn't a loud story. It doesn't announce itself. It's a quiet one, and sometimes those are the ones that need the most space to be heard. If you're finding a sense of recognition here, a feeling that someone else might be speaking from a corner of your own heart, then please consider liking this channel and subscribing, not as a habit, but as a way of staying connected, a small signal that you don't have to sit with these kinds of questions alone. We are in the kitchen, and it is a Tuesday evening. The spaghetti water is boiling, and I am stirring a sauce that smells of garlic and basil. He is setting the table. 1 fork, 1 knife, 1 napkin for him. 1 fork, 1 knife, 1 napkin for me. A ritual so practiced, it no longer requires sound. This is what our life looks like from the outside. It looks peaceful, it looks kind, and in many ways, it still is. That's the confusing part. The betrayal I'm speaking of didn't rob us of our routines, it hollowed them out. It lives in the space between the action and the intention. He sets the fork down, and I feel a distance open, wider than any ocean, quieter than any storm. It began, I think, not with a discovery, but with a slow fading of light, a gradual dimming so subtle that for a long time I believed my eyes were simply adjusting. He stopped asking, "How was your day?" in a way that waited for an answer. His laughter at my jokes became a soft exhale, a polite acknowledgement rather than a shared burst of joy. He'd reach for my hand across the couch, but his palm felt cool and his thumb would stop stroking my skin after a minute, as if he'd forgotten it was there. I started to tell myself stories. He's tired. Work is stressful. It's just a phase. We're comfortable. This is what long-term love feels like. I became an archaeologist of our past, sifting through old photos and memories, searching for proof that the person I remembered still lived here. And he did. He does. He's right here. But he's also not. The real moment, the one where trust didn't shatter, but quietly dissolved, arrived on an ordinary Saturday. We were driving to the hardware store for light bulbs. The sun was out. A song came on the radio, one we used to sing to badly, loudly, without self-consciousness. I saw his fingers tap the steering wheel, once, twice. Then they stilled. He reached over and changed the station to the news. A dry voice began discussing politics. He didn't look at me. He didn't explain. And in that small, almost insignificant action, I knew. He had chosen to step out of a shared memory, to leave me inside it alone. It wasn't cruel, it wasn't dramatic, it was just final. The quiet turning of a lock on a door I hadn't even realized was closing. After that, I began to doubt my own reactions. Was I making a mountain out of nothing? Was I too sensitive, too needy, too aware? Maybe the song annoyed him. Maybe he just wanted to hear the news. I'd lie awake at night replaying our interactions like a detective with no crime to solve. The case was all feeling, no evidence. There were no lipstick-stained collars, no secret messages lighting up his phone in the dark, just a profound and growing absence where his presence used to be. The villain in this story wasn't another person, it was erosion. And how do you fight erosion? How do you point to the place where something once stood and say, this missingness is the wound?
The exhaustion of pretending is a particular kind of tiredness. It settles into your bones. You smile when you pass the salt. You say, "Sleep well," And you mean it because you still wish him the peace you can't seem to find yourself. You talk about the grocery list, the dripping tap, the weekend plans with a functional calm. All the while, inside, you are screaming the quietest scream in history, a scream made entirely of silence. You begin to feel like a ghost in your own life, haunting the rooms of a relationship that still stands but feels increasingly empty. What I grieve most is not him, not yet. It's the loss of emotional safety, the loss of the assumption that the person beside you is a soft place to land, that if you stumble, their hand will reach for yours, not out of habit, but from instinct. That safety is gone now. I walk on eggshells inside my own heart, careful not to disturb the fragile calm, the carefully maintained distance. I miss the version of myself who existed when that safety was real, a softer, more trusting woman who believed love was a harbor, not a long, quiet tide pulling out. I loved him. I love him still, in a way. It's a love that exists alongside confusion, like two plants with intertwined roots, one thriving, one slowly withering. You can't pull one free without damaging the other, and so you let them both remain. You tend to them with a bittersweet care, knowing one is fading but honoring its history. There is no room for blame here, not really, because blame suggests a clear action, a deliberate wound. This is more like watching someone walk away across a long, flat plain. You can see them for miles, growing smaller and smaller, but there is no single moment you can point to and say, that's when he left. He is both here and already gone. I am beginning to understand that the way back to myself isn't through understanding him, but through trusting my own senses again. That feeling in the kitchen when he said, "I'm fine," that was real. The hollow finality of the changed radio station, that was real too. I am learning to sit with the unease instead of arguing it away, to accept that the map I've been following no longer matches the terrain beneath my feet. The love, the attachment, the shared history, they are all real, but so is the distance, so is the quiet betrayal of shared solitude. They can exist in the same room, in the same heart. Naming that truth is not an ending, it is a first step, fragile, private, and necessary. If this reflection resonates with you, you're welcome to subscribe, not as an obligation, but as a way of staying near, to remind yourself that in moments like these, there are other voices walking quietly alongside you. The other morning, I noticed the plant on the windowsill, the one we bought together years ago at a farmer's market, had unfurled a new leaf. It was small, vivid green, growing not toward the center of the room where we live, but turning determinedly toward the light outside. I watered it. I didn't move it. I simply let it be, reaching for what it needed in the direction it chose.